Hey y'all, for those that missed class, this is for you guys. So on Tuesday, we went over a couple of things. So we went over the claim and evidence that you did for homework, and then also got a chance to peer review with your classmates. So your classmates gave you feedback on the claim and evidence for COVID. So I want to orient ourselves. We're going to talk about the COVID homework. And so if you haven't done that, you should pause this video and go do that, and then chime back in. All right. But so when you're looking at doing the COVID homework, I realized that I did not tell you guys what the adult symptoms were. So that is my bad. I am so sorry that I didn't do that. That would have helped you with your homework. But hopefully you guys already knew, since some of you didn't ask. So according to the CDC, which is a fact-check source, because it's the Center for Disease Control, adult symptoms for COVID are fevers, cough, shortness of breath, difficulty breathing, fatigue, muscle aches or body aches, headaches, losing your sense of smell or taste, having a sore throat, having a runny nose, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Such fun symptoms. So those are like the typical symptoms for adults when we get COVID. And so remember, for the podcast and the claim and evidence you should have done for that, the research question was, do teenagers get the same symptoms as adults? Okay, so that's the question we're asking ourselves. So your claim should be yes or no, and then your evidence should back that up. Okay, so during class, we did a thing where we copied and pasted the COVID that you did for homework in week 3. You copied it into your week 4 science notebook. So how you did that was you would go under classwork, you'd open up your week 3 science notebooks, all right? And you'd scroll down to the homework that you finished down here. Right? Then you go open up your week 4 notebook, because we're starting a new week, so it's week 4. You go down to slide 4 here, and you would you would copy and paste your claim. So you'd copy it and you'd paste it into your week 4 notebook here, right? And then you'd also do the same for all 3 of these evidences as well. Because why you're doing that is because you're going to be revising your claim and evidence with the help of the tools that I'm going to give you. So you're going to be revising this because I want it to be super strong and awesome for when I grade it for your first LT1 assessment. Okay, so this is a learning target, is being able to create a claim and evidence, and I'm going to evaluate you on it for this COVID one. Okay, so go ahead and copy and paste that, and when you're done, come back to this video. All right, so now that you've copied and pasted into your week 4 notebook, I want you to go ahead, and we're just going to be working in our week 4 notebooks from now on. So again, just to remind y'all that when I evaluate this claim and evidence on the COVID podcast, I'm going to be looking at all 3 of these criteria. So I'm going to look at, can you create a claim? Can you find 3 pieces of evidence that are strong and also support that claim, right? And then I want to make sure that all of your evidence comes from fact-check sources, which the good thing is that most of you guys will, all of you guys will have this check mark already, because the New York Times is a fact-check source. So automatically, this is a giveaway for all y'all. So we'll be focusing on these 2. All right. So so then I go through, in class, we went through an example from one of my 3rd period classes, and I wanted us to use this table for feedback for this example. So I'm going to give you an example of a CE that a student turned in, and then on slide 5, you'll see that you have this exact same table. So you're going to use this table on yourself, but first I'm going to give you an example of how to use it with this CE. So let's remember the research question is, do teens have the same COVID symptoms as adults? And so the claim that this student wrote is no, they do not. So let's look over here at this criteria for the first one. For the claim, we want to make sure that the claim is 1 to 2 sentences that restates the question. And so here in the yellow column, I would say for this student, I would write that the student needs to restate the question, meaning like they should say, no teens do not have the same COVID symptoms as adults, or rather than just saying, no, they don't. All right, so I'd put that as a concern. Something positive I would say back is like, maybe I would say like, I agree that it's no, and I think that's a good claim. Okay. So then for evidence number 1, they wrote, Jeff gets a rash that is not an adult COVID symptoms. So maybe one of the first concerns I look at that I see is that the kid's name is is Jack, not Jeff. And so I would change the name. But I wonder, it does support the claim because it's saying that he got a rash and the rash is not listed as a COVID symptom for adults. So it definitely supports a claim. It's not just a random fact. And the sentence is direct and complete. Although he should capitalize J, but it is a complete sentence, right? So maybe an area of concern is just change the name to Jack and maybe capitalize J. Otherwise, I would write in this green box, I would write supports claim. Good job. All right, so then let's go on to evidence 2. Evidence 2 says 2 other kids showed also the same symptoms as Jack did. At first they tested negative, but in the second test, the results came out positive. It said that their immune system was fighting the coronavirus in their body. Apparently their immune system couldn't fight it anymore, and it caused these kids to react in this specific way. So in this evidence, something I would say, some positive feedback I'd give them is that it is really detailed. This is awesome detailed evidence, right? And then also what's really cool is that they actually put a reasoning in. And so had there been another row from them to write the reasoning in, they would have already had it, which is super, super awesome. That would give them that for positive feedback here. Some negative feedback I give, or some areas of concerns that I would give them is that it's not very direct. There's like a lot of information here. I would kind of like condense it, as in make it shorter and make it more concise, right? Another thing is that they said 2 other kids also showed the same symptoms as Jack did. And I think that is like pretty good evidence. However, it doesn't mention anything about adults. So maybe to make your evidence a little stronger, I would maybe say an area of concern is to support the claim better, maybe mention something about adults, how other kids show symptoms that Jack did, but adults did not, or something. Now for the third one, for the third evidence, says he beat COVID and he did not die, and he was young and he did not have the same symptoms as olders. For, I would say the areas of concern that I would put down for that, if I was his partner, I would say like, it kind of sounds like evidence 3 is a claim. So it's restating that teens do not have the same symptoms as adults. It's not a very direct or concise sentence. It kind of runs on and there's not a lot of detail in it. So for evidence 3, I would write those concerns and say, maybe let's find a different piece of evidence for number 3. Okay. So basically, since you would do this because we don't have partners because y'all missed class, but that's okay. You're going to try to do this for your own claim and evidence. So you're going to reevaluate your claim and evidence using slide number 5 here and write in like what I did well, what I need to revise. I did this super well. Good job. So you just fill this out on your own. All right. Okay, the last part of this week is that you are going to be filling out reflections for your LT0, which is your professionalism. Okay, so you have a grade in Aries. So I've given you directions on slide number 6. This is the last part of your homework. What I'm going to start to do every week is that every week I'm going to put all of your homework in your notebook so that you just have a central location to go to see if you have any homework. So for your LT0 grade reflection, the steps are right here. So follow these directions and I'll show you right now as we go through. So the first step in this blue block is to go to Google Classroom under the section classwork, and then go under the topic grading and learning targets and open the document called LT Reflection and Tracker. So you can see a picture here. So you're gonna go to your classwork. You're gonna go find the grading learning targets, the LT Reflection and Tracker. And you're gonna see here, you have your own document. So what you're gonna do, so then let's go back to the instructions. It says to go to your OUSD.org and check your grade and look at the assignment LT0 first assessment. So when you go check your grade, you should see this is kind of what should pop up. And for your LT0 first assessment, you can check your score with this. So this person got a 3. All right, so that's awesome. They figured that out. And then you want to then you want to go back to your document and complete this first section here for LT0. So you're going to go here. You can see at the very top, you go down, this is the LT0 part, and you're just going to fill out this portion right here. You're ready to zoom in. So you're going to write in your grade, which that person found out was a 3. You'd also put a 3 here so we know what your current grade is in the class, right? And then you would answer these 2 questions. So you would answer, why do you think I received this grade? So, and I want you to use words from the rubric above. So maybe you say, like, I met at least 60% of the deadlines. However, I didn't go to class 2 days, or I forgot to turn in 2 assignments and didn't tell Ms. Tao. Something like that. So 1 or 2 sentences there. And then this is the part where I want a longer answer. So I want you to think about how can you maintain your grade or improve it. So for those that got 4s, I want you to think about how do you maintain that 4? How do you hit all of these deadlines? For those that got less than a 4, I want you to think about how can you improve it? So like maybe right here, next time I know I have to miss class, I will tell Ms. Tao. Or I will try to set an alarm on Wednesdays and Sundays to know when to turn in my notebook. Okay, so things like that. Once you have finished filling these out, you can go ahead and turn it in and submit it under classwork, right? And then you are all good. You don't have to write anything here in your notebook. So remember, so that is it. So your homework is, that also is due, is your science notebook, which is week 4, and it's due Wednesday, which is tomorrow. And I realized that because some of you might want to spend more time on your notebook today and tomorrow, because I am grading you on your claim and evidence, you might want to spend a little time revising it. So although I said that it's due on Wednesday at 3 p.m., you do technically have, I will give you until midnight tomorrow night to turn it in. However, I do still want to make sure that I get people's attendance. So I want you to, before advisory, I want you to submit that document. If you need more time, hit unsubmit. So for example, like I'm gonna say, if Timmy needs more time to do their notebook, they would submit it before advisory and then unsubmit it. And then I will see in there, I'm like, oh, okay, Timmy's still working on his notebook, but he's definitely telling me that he is. Okay. All right, that is it for homework. So finish all 3 pages of your notebook and turn it in. Okay, that's all.